Hi, my name is Dong. I'm a Canadian animator working in Japan. Today, let's try a common animation exercise called the hammer swing. Here, a character swings a heavy hammer or mallet into the ground, and this will test the animator's understanding of movement, timing, weight, balance, and a plethora of others. I did this exercise twice before, once as a school exam and once as another exam that I took as part of an interview when I was looking for work in Japan. I remember that time, I was made to do the assignment with the character Haruko from the third season of Fooly Cooly, so today I will use the same character and show you how I approached the assignment. Feel free to use another character, as drawing your favorite character can make the assignment more fun. So follow along. If you are a new animator, this will look great on your demo reel, and if you are more advanced, this is a good test of your ability. I will be using OpenToonz to animate in, but this video is more on the process of animating itself and not on the software, so feel free to use whatever you would like. And as such, if there are any questions regarding the usage of OpenToonz, please refer to my digital animation OpenToonz video as I go over my workflow in detail over there. Here I have an empty scene setup with the layout template. To start, let's draw our main key poses rough and work up from there. It is important to work loose and rough as we can get the drawings on model later on in the tie down process. So first, the starting position. Haruko is going to be in a loose, wide, casual stance with the body leaning slightly to the right to counterbalance the big, heavy mallet. Making another layer for the ground plane here is also a good idea. For the ending pose, I'll have the character end in a hunched position with the hammer resting on the ground. The left leg will stay in place, while the right one will move forward, with the final pose having a wide stance for balance. Use the onion skin tool and flip through the two drawings to make sure that the sizes and volumes are not changing. The next pose is the down or anticipation position. I will have the character shift her body down and screen left into a slight crouch in anticipation into an explosive lunge towards screen right. The shoulders will shift left while the pelvis will shift right as the character prepares to thrust in the opposite direction. The next pose is going to be the lifting pose. The character will lunge with the shoulders first and shift their weight to the right. The mallet is heavy, and to lift it, she has to shift her weight so much that her right foot leaves the ground. The arms are also going to go up as she attempts to get the hammer above her head for the swing. Then is the impact position for when the mallet first impacts the ground. Compared to the final resting pose, this is going to be the extreme drawing as the character will be in the lowest and most forward pose. From this, she will recover into the final pose. Now let's figure out some of our intermediate drawings. We will start with the pose directly between these two that we have just drawn. The character will be moving her right leg forward while she has the mallet up in position ready to swing forward, like so. This is called a breakdown drawing. And let's keep going with the previous set of drawings. This drawing will have the character start lifting the mallet about halfway through, but most of the drawing will be a simple in-between. We are going to do this with the next set of poses as well, trying to figure out the intermediate breakdown drawing here. In this drawing, the hammer is going to be almost perpendicular with the ground, while most of the lower body is going to be a in-between. And again, we can do another breakdown drawing between our extreme impact pose and the final resting pose. This drawing is going to favor the final pose, meaning it will be closer temporally and spatially to that. The hammer itself is going to do a quick bounce after impacting the ground. Let's flip through our poses and number them. You can also time it here. I will have A1 hold for 6 frames. Then there will be 2 in-betweens between A1 and A2 held on 2s. Those drawings are going to follow this diagram with some easing into A2. There will be another 2 in-betweens between A2 and A3 as we ease into A3. The distance between A3 and A4 is a bit large, so a single in-between there in the middle should be just fine. Everything else will be on 2s with the exception of A6, which I will put on 1s to make the movement faster. The last drawing, A9, will be held for another 6 frames. If you use a timesheet to plan out your animation like I do, it will look like this. The dashes are where our in-betweens are. Now we can play it back to see how it looks. Next, let's do our tie downs, which are essentially a quick, rough cleanup process where we put the character on model. On a new layer with the opacity turned down on our roughs, we can draw over it, but with more detail. We also draw in our shadows and highlights. I use red for highlights and trace lines and blue for shadows. And now let's do that for the rest of our rough drawings. Again, for questions regarding my workflow, see my OpenToonz video. Once that is done, label everything and we can give it a playback. Next, we do cleanup and in-betweens. Again, we make a new layer and turn down the opacity on the tie downs. I use a thinner line and will use both the brush and line tool to draw a clean line. The focus here is to get a clean final lines, hopefully without any gaps. Repeat this for the other drawings. We can also do our in-betweens now. Remember to start with the in-between drawing that is sandwiched between the two key poses. This will make it much easier. I will sometimes do a rough underdrawing before doing my clean line. Also, another technique I like to use in OpenToonz is going into View, Shift and Trace. We can use the Shift and Trace feature, which essentially lets us move the onion skin drawings around. Keep doing this for the other in-betweens and keys. Once everything is done, label the drawings and we can play it back. Now let's color our drawings. OpenToonz has a feature that lets us auto-paint the red and blue lines we have set up. I will create the colors one by one and adjust them as I go while I fill them in using the fill tool. See my OpenToonz video to learn more about this process. Once all the drawings are colored, I'll export the file. In OpenTunes, I have to set up my cameras first. And then in the output settings, I like to use the MOV file with the H.264 codec. But you will need QuickTime installed for that, so you can also export it in AVI or in image sequence depending on your needs. And there you have it, a quick example of the hammer swing exercise. This exercise can be approached in many different ways, so feel free to mix it up in your own animation. Anyways, thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter and support me on Patreon if you like. See you guys next time.